Hi, everyone, and welcome to Barefoot with Spirit podcast show. A special welcome to those of you in the Mediums Lounge community as well. I am your host, Leanne, the Barefoot Medium, and I'm incredibly excited to connect with you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an international medium, twin flame, transformational coach, and an intuitive criminal investigator who is blessed to connect people from all over the world with their loved ones who've passed over, as well as bring channeled guidance to help you come into union with your twin flame and manifest your soul's needs, wants, and desires in life. Now, before we get started, I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge the traditional owners or custodians of the land on which I stand and on which my guest stands, and pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and First Nations people from all over the world. Now, kick off your shoes. Take some really beautiful, big, deep breaths into your heart space and imagine yourself stepping into this spiritual container, this sacred space, for a deep, intimate, and connected conversation with my guest, Christoffel, on the three brains: relationships, well-being, and intuition. Now, Christoffel is a business coach, trainer, and behavioral therapist, as well as a clinical hypnotherapist who helps people unlock their potential, inspiring, motivating, and challenging them to create the lives and outcomes they truly desire. He's the proud author of two insightful books, How Men and Women Fit, Finally Understand Your Partner with the Three Brains Theory, and Relationships, Which Brain is Talking, which shed light on the intricate workings of our three brains in personal and professional relationships, fostering greater understanding and harmony. Now, Christoffel is an expert in human behavior and change and is deeply passionate about inspiring individuals to follow their dreams and objectives while fostering a greater sense of connection and purpose. Wow. You have done an incredible amount of work, and I'm so blessed that you are joining us from Spain to share some of your knowledge and wisdom with listeners and viewers. So welcome.
Thank you, Leanne. And as I shared already, I lived 9 years in Australia, so I really connect with Australia and also with your audience. So I love to be guest from the other side of the world. And as you're a medium, you know that we can communicate to the other side of the world without even communicating verbally, energetic-wise. Because what you maybe don't know, I'm also a Reiki master. So more to your field of expertise.
Yeah.
And so I know quote unquote how the connections go and how it works.
Yeah.
And also what kind of amazing things there are more between heaven and earth. Because we talk about three brains, so that's really the physical entity. And I don't talk about the spiritual energetical world in that part. Because for a lot of people that is something like, ooh, where's the purple dress? But it is so extremely true and manifesting. And everybody who knows Tai Chi or knows the Chi energy knows that. So just to make you aware, so that I'm really, that's why I also love to be your podcast. I think, okay, we have a connection in that field.
Absolutely. And I love that you bring in your professional background and your teaching and all of that kind of thing to your work, because, you know, our spiritual side of ourselves is just one part of who we are. And, you know, the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, economic selves that I often talk to clients about is all part of who we are. You know, I mentioned to you before we started that, you know, my human self is doing a PhD in criminology at the moment. So that's part of my spiritual self as well. So talk to me about how you got into doing this work.
Okay, I will give you a short synopsis. So something like 30 years ago, after being, I had my work experience with four different companies in software design, in marketing and sales. I really actually got fired from the last job. I thought, let's follow my passion and start really training and coaching people. I joined the best company in that moment in Europe. Learned massively about the training, how to train, leadership, sales. And during a coaching session, I still remember I was coaching somebody in the Netherlands who was afraid of going through tunnels. Yeah. If you know Netherlands, a lot of tunnels are there because we love water. You have to go underneath or over. And on that moment, I became aware I don't know enough because I couldn't help him. And I thought, okay, what do I need more? And I started learning NLP and other kind of things. Got a burnout. Started to learn much more about the somatic work because I thought I know so much head brain logic, and came aware that I was not listening to my body as being an extensive sporter. And when I emigrated to Australia 15 years ago, I already knew NLP and somatic work, but I also really wanted to become an hypnotherapist. So I trained more in that and started to work in hypnotherapy and psychotherapy, and came aware now, Australia, the moment you get clients in for therapy work, a new world opens, because then you hear actually the dark side of what happens in humans. In the business world, you talk about how can I motivate my people. In therapy work, got abused by my uncle. And it's like, oh wow, didn't see that one coming. And I really had some how can I help them best? Because I will not say I'm a perfectionist, but I love to help clients as good as possible. Because nobody should have to carry 30 years of baggage on them.
Yeah.
And I learned more and more, came into now much more somatic work, even trauma work. But I always had the burning question, who's in charge of our subconscious? Because we always talk about your subconscious is in charge. So it's like, who's our subconscious? Dear teacher, tell me who's our subconscious. Dear professor, tell me who's our subconscious. And all of them then become blank. Yeah, that is somewhere hidden in you. Is it where? In me, or in the spiritual energy world, or all of that a little bit. And having a logical mind, I studied commercial engineering, I thought, it doesn't make sense to me. And then I, somewhere following a lot of courses, I heard a light bulb from, we have a brain in our heart. And a brain in our heart? What do you mean? And love Googled it, came aware of heart math, came aware of the heart brain. In the same moment, I heard about the gut brain, the gut bacteria. Googled that, came aware of Michael Gershwin. That's almost 10 years ago, and thought, if this is true, we have physically 3 brains, and all those 3 brains can independently make a decision, as they say, and actually they have different kind of responsibilities based on neurotransmitters, then we should rather start thinking again how we treat issues and problems, all this kind of stuff. Now, and that somewhere became my focus from, hey, I found somewhere a new light bulb, how we can help people. Now, 10 years forward, create trainings and courses for it to help therapists, coaches, to use that in their coaching or therapy world, because what I became aware, and just like you, we were not in this job to earn a lot of money. They become a business banker. And I came aware in our whole society, and that's what's in my book, we educate people, and we all know the book, Men Are From Mars, Females Are From Venus. It annoyed me a little bit because it means that you and I, Leanne, are different.
Yeah.
And I don't accept that.
Yeah.
I'm Dutch, I'm stubborn, and I don't accept it. I'm also raised by my dad to say everybody's the same. It doesn't matter what kind of skin color, hair, we're all the same.
Yeah.
And if you think about the 3 brains, the gut brain is an egocentric brain. It's also about self-care. Makes sense. There's also your immune system located. Evolutionary, that's where we all started. Every little cell gets nutrients in and waste material out. Actually, it's a digestive system. The heart brain is all about connection. And that's why we are group animals. And if we are born, we're just like little joeys, the kangaroo. We're totally depending on our caregivers. If we would not bond with our parents, we would not be here. And the head brain is all about logic. And I thought, if those 3 are there, and you look at how we educate people, how we do it on universities, how we actually socialize people, we make men gut-brain people. You have to be strong, and in Australia you have to have a dirt bike, you have to have a shed, you have to love fishing, and you have to love barbecuing, the real men. You don't talk about your emotions. It's all gut-brain. And the females, you have to be sweet, and you have to do your makeup, you have to talk about the kids, you have to talk about your parents. It's all heartbreak. And I know I make extremely jokes about Australians, but go in other kind of countries, you see the same. And I thought, so we're socializing people in more gut brain, more heart brain, and of course then they are from Venus and Mars, because that's how we treat them. That's how we socialize them. I thought, so if you can break those barriers away, I mean, we can say, biologically we're all the same. Yes, you could. Yeah, females have a womb and men have something hanging there. So reproduction-wise, we have difference, but besides the reproduction, we're all the same. We can maybe close the gender gap, create much less hostility and much more understanding, make this world a better place. So that's really came my purpose for, I love to share and educate people, because the moment we become aware, you don't have an excuse anymore. You cannot say, this is who I am. No, this is how am I socialized. And on that moment, you don't have an excuse anymore. And if there's no excuse anymore, then it's my big wish, I hope, that people start saying, if I don't have an excuse, maybe I should learn, maybe I should develop, maybe I should change. And at that moment, as John Lennon was singing already 40 years ago, imagine you've got a better world. Now, in a nutshell, that's who I am. What's my purpose in this little life, Leanne? And we have a soul purpose. And I always believe that everything that happens to me, because this year I had an open heart surgery because I had genetically a heart valve that was no functioning, is not a happy moment. But I thought these moments are there in my life to teach me a lesson how I can be a better human and can bring better to the world. Our soul purpose. So that's me and what I love to be now.
And I love how you share in amongst that a little bit about the three brains, and how you came about to learning about those or their existence. And I know in kind of the spiritual industry or world where people talk about the head being the logical brain or the masculine kind of energy, and that heart space being the intuition, or the heart and the gut really are the intuition, or the higher self, right? So I'm intrigued and I'm interested to learn a little bit more about those three brains. And you talked about your head brain there. Tell me what the head brain is.
To make it different, so our head, I call it head brain because you can also call it the mind, is the latest invention of evolution. And I talked then about the neocortex, the gray matter and the white matter. Up to 6 million years ago, humans didn't have such a thick layer. And before that, it was already there. Also, the dinosaurs had, say, a really tiny, tiny, tiny neocortex. But we developed it much more. And if you now think about 20% of our energy and 25% of our oxygen consumption is used by that thing in between our ears. Why would evolution make such an extremely expensive topic in our body? But it's only 1.5 kilo, eh? It's only, and then it has to have a reason. Now, and then you can right away ask, why do we have such a freaking big memory? Now, what's the use of a huge memory? The only reason for having a memory is predict better. Because if you know what happened yesterday, you know what you can probably do better tomorrow. And that makes us a huge difference of a lot of other animals in this world. Have different varieties in those. Say your dog knows something, but if you ask what are you going to do tomorrow, he doesn't know. If you ask what are you going to do yesterday, he doesn't know. The same as your cat. Explain your cat that in 5 hours it gets food and it starts running around your legs from where's my food tray now? We know the head brain knows tomorrow and yesterday. That's the only part in our body that can do a cause and effect analysis. And that takes a massive amount of energy. And it can create new patterns and new ideas how to do that. So it's an extremely precious and useful thing we have there. The pity is, it's not in charge. And if people say, oh, no, mine is in charge. Of course, for some people it's in charge. And those are firefighters, and those are people who fly in a plane, are surgeons who learned really to overrun their system. But that's less than 5% of the population of this world.
Mm.
The rest of the world, and you just look outside in Australia or in America, and you see the obesitas jumping up, you can see the gut brain is in charge.
Mm.
The gut
So
brain
talk to me about the gut brain. Yeah.
The gut brain is actually our oldest, what I said, the oldest entity, because all started as digestive systems. There's where the immune system is located. It does not know tomorrow and yesterday. So it has now a need of food, and it does not think about the consequences. What will it do to me tomorrow? If you go to a fast food chain and eat 2,500 calories in one meal, your gut brain is happy. Oh wow, I got enough energy for now. But it does not think, what will happen tomorrow or the day after if I keep on doing this? And before you know it, 20 kilos more.
Mm-hmm.
The same if you have an emotional trauma experience, abuse, whatever kind of abuse or accidents, then your gut brain like to nurture you. Now, the gut brain has a few things: food, sex, and drugs and rock and roll. I always say, that's the song. So, but it has simple things. It likes to give you food or nutrition. It likes to create your safety, so it likes to escape from the pain, so it avoids social situations, or now it likes to reproduce. Those are the things it can do. So to nurture us, it will most times choose for foods and liquids that gives us a happy feeling. Hence, you see a lot of traumatic people also have digestive issues or weight issues because it creates something like a protection mechanism for them. Let me go to the heart, what you said. The heart came in, I could say, came in this world. It's not totally true, but to make it a little bit black and white, to be a social animal. Like, you can say, oh, a crocodile has a heart, and if you go to the salties in the north of Australia, they're not social. They have actually a different heart than us, so they are cold-blooded animals. 2 chambers. We have 4 chambers. Warm-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals have a different kind of a D. Mammals have a different kind of heart, and actually have 100,000 brain cells on their heart. And their heart, our heart, can produce a neurotransmitter the gut brain cannot produce. And that makes a massive difference. Oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone, the cuddling hormone, the bonding hormone. It can be released by the amygdala, can be released by the heart. So bonding comes from the head or from the heart. Now, actually from the heart, because where do we feel love? In our heart. What happens if your loved one disappears? You have a broken heart. And nobody says, I have a broken gut because my loved one disappeared. And so they have a function, those 3 kind of things. And that's actually how also now evolution, or if people are religious, how God made us unique because we have different kind of decision entities inside us. And our challenge as a human being is actually, we don't talk about the energy world and the spiritual world, because then we have a different kind of entity, maybe for next time. Those 3, to align those 3, that they all are being heard and we can align our decisions. And most people will have a dominant brain based on genetics, based on upbringing, and will choose from there. And it means if you have, say, only 1 option instead of 3, you always choose that one, and it's not the best. That creates so many issues.
One thing that's popping into my mind as you're talking about that is you're aligning our brains. And I know when we talk manifesting, and we'll talk a little tiny bit about that, I also want to talk about that perspective of, you talked about trauma, and you kind of hinted at a little bit of stress or oxytocin, or and what's popping to mind is the word flooding. And so when our gut brain or our heart brain or our head brain is flooded, how does that impact, if the gut, for example, is overwhelmed, or there's some sort of trauma there, how does someone experience that if it's out of balance? Does that make sense?
It makes totally sense. Extremely good question you ask, Leanne, because it happens. 3/4 of the population in the world, and depends where you look at, say in some more, will experience a traumatic event in their life. And everybody's parents die, so you could even add probably 100% of the people.
Yeah.
So what happens if you cannot get over it? Then when your gut brain is say stuck in say a trauma event, means it will go in survival mode. It turns off in your beautiful head the awareness moment from, hey, who am I actually? So your current physical feelings are turned off. It turns off somewhere also the time your head have. Hence, we call it the post-traumatic stress syndrome. You live like it is so many years ago. And for those situations, you'll fall back, say, in your primitive coping mechanisms that you used to deal with that. Or you stay in it, avoidance mechanism.
Yeah.
Or you start, say doing other kind of things to solve it. So people then, the body is smart. It doesn't like to be in pain.
Yeah.
So what it does is detour actually around the pain to find something else.
Yeah.
And that, I can call it the coping mechanism. The coping mechanism becomes then the new us, and we think we are like that. And if there's a pain, then we like to soothe that pain. Hence, when I talk about the gut brain, we'll use a lot of kind of food or drinks or alcohol or drugs to soothe you somewhere. And it can also be, say, addictions, in all kinds of addictions, from shopping to whatever, to solve it.
Yeah.
When your heart brain has a trauma, and it's more a loss trauma, hey, your loved one disappears, betrays on you, you get sacked by somebody, all the things that your heart breaks from, then actually the heart falls still and actually doesn't start trusting anymore and becomes, say, the joy gets out of life, because your heart also gives the joy. The gut doesn't give joy, the gut gives life. The heart gives joy and enthusiasm. So you see people that really, the physical moment, their face really becomes because not a smile, because an opposite smile. And people don't find happiness anymore in their life. They closed off of that.
Yeah.
And it's again, a lot of our emotions are or soothing the pain or avoiding. So we isolate, we don't trust anymore, we don't connect anymore. There's a lot of kind of, we're still simple animals, I would always say. We have simple kind of coping mechanisms, only because we have so much in the world. Sometimes they're disguised. And say, if you work as a clinical hypnotherapist, psychotherapist in Australia, the number of people who have let's call it an alcohol issue is amazing. And that's one cultural depending, and the UK people love to drink. It's part of their culture. But on the other hand, it is also, say, to fill the void of the emptiness.
Yeah.
People are tired. What happens? We are tired from work. We come home. Oh shit. Okay, we have to cook. I don't feel happy. Okay, what will soothe that pain? Oh, a Chardonnay therapy is amazing. Or maybe a Pinot Noir. And I don't see it anymore as a therapy tool, because it becomes part of their life. But actually, you're filling up a void in your life and unhappiness. And many people do it. There's no blame, because that's actually what nature will tell us to do. Hey, have pain and do something. So you can see it in all kinds of things. It's why I always say it's the coping mechanisms of trauma or highly impactful events are simple. It doesn't mean the solution is simple. I will never say the solution is simple, because that would not do honor to all the people who suffer for a long time. And it's easier to say what the solution is than to do the solution. You go on social media, you hear what you should do. And that's what I sometimes dislike from all the gurus, because they never say how to do it or how to overcome your blocks, how to overcome all the struggle you have in life. Because everybody will eat less, sport more, sleep enough, love more, listen more. But everybody knows that. I never heard somebody, oh wow, you tell me something new. What is new? How to do it. And in that part, and you can talk about, say, the medium work you do, and the energy work or the therapy work that I do, this actually releasing the old pain, so the coping mechanism disappears. And that's the beauty. if you look at it from a physical part of view, the heart and the gut don't know time, as I said. So the moment they come aware it's in the past, the emotion drops away because they don't have to keep it alive anymore.
Yeah.
Again, this is a simple explanation what you should do. That's not how easy it always is, because again, that will be unreal. The same if you do energy work, because you also get energy like, and that's your probably more expertise than I am, although I'm a Reiki master, is releasing the energy. And if you let the energy and the chakras be one again, you also heal the part. Only for a real master in energy work, it means you have to know or allow the whole energy to work. And there you see the difference between, say, horrible healers and real masters. If somebody calls themselves a healer, I will say they're not good. Because when you call yourself a healer, yourself an ego, and ego is the gut. The moment you say, help somebody, then now you should start listening. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah. And I love that you say that, because, we all go through life and have new knowledge and new insight and new wisdom as we learn and grow, right? And so, we have perspectives and knowledge and beliefs where we are now. And I love how you say that. It's really interesting hearing you talk about the impact from a gut perspective, and also a heart perspective of that trauma that we might, or different people might experience in life. And, one of the things I deal with is grief and loss in my mediumship work in particular, and also looking at all sorts of other relationship types of trauma in amongst it. And, when we lose a loved one, it is about relationship and connection. And, having my husband's just experienced a pretty significant loss only about 18 months ago, and very traumatic. And having witnessed how his trauma impacted and is still in some ways, and he's conscious and present and aware, and yet still working through it. And that gut and heart, how does the head integrate all of that?
It's beautiful you say it. And I know how it also from first experience. And my ex-wife, who I emigrated with to Australia, got shot 2 years ago by her boyfriend.
Wow.
In Australia.
Wow.
And then he shot himself, and we were still friends. And so I know how it feels, how say, one moment, a part of your heart almost dies or breaks, or whatever you like to call it. So I know also from my own experience how it feels.
Yeah.
So then you can use your own therapy or your own theory in your therapy, or yourself think from, oh wow, that's why I know it's not easy.
Yeah.
But, when your heart is really connected, and it's also energetically connected, as you know. It's not only the physical part, there's also an energetically part. You can go to quantum physics to make a scientific explanation of it, but let's not go there. But there is actually an energy connection. And when it's not there anymore, that pool of energy is still there. And if you believe, say, in the afterworld, and that the energy doesn't die, then that energy pool is always still there until, now, and that's probably your work, when that energy connection gets also aligned. And there is peace between the energy from the deceived one and the person in the world. And that piece, I say, that's not my expertise, but I know how I know how it works. It doesn't mean I know how to do it. That never go to you. Is that happens now? Where is the physical where the head steps in? Now I said the head likes to predict. That means the head likes to give an answer. And when the heart is not happy or the gut is not happy, it sends a signal upstairs and says, "Can you give me an answer?" And so then the heart says, "Why? Why did it happen? Why didn't I say to this person this? Why was the last day this? Why didn't I say more to that person I loved him or loved her? Why actually didn't I follow my intuition and went there?" Now, all those why questions only make you shitty more. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
So the head starts trying to answer that. Why didn't you pick up the phone earlier? Yeah, because you were busy and thought that your work was more important than her on that moment. Now, you feel more shitty. So, and if you have a trauma experience, then why didn't I listen to my gut feeling when it says, don't go in the street? Why did I have to watch my phone when I was driving 100 kilometers? And again, all those why questions the head likes to answer makes you worse and worse and worse feeling.
Mm.
So when you work with people, it's also stopping the why and getting actually now what we both know, the acceptance. And the acceptance is don't try to find an answer. Because the answer is not there. Because if the answer was there, we would know, but the answer is not there.
Mm.
And then you have to believe that everything has a reason. And that's believing in, no, even if it's not nice, everything has a reason in this world.
Yeah.
And you can go to religion for that, and you can go to the energy world for that. It doesn't mean we like it.
Mm.
But there is a reason it happens. And it doesn't mean we get the answer of the reason.
Yeah.
And that's the acceptance part. But that means we have to still our head, don't ask the question, just learn to accept. But then we have the heart and the gut have to learn it's over. And then now, and besides the physical work, I also believe in the energetic world, you have to find that peace with the energy, especially when there's a huge energy connection. I saw this with my ex, we had an amazing, you could say, soul connection.
Yeah.
So that means that even I can logically all accept it and all kind of stuff. Sometimes, and still, I feel the energy pool coming there. It's like, I think, okay, there is some unsolved or unanswered or whatever. I don't know how to call it. There's still some energy pool that somewhere could need some solving in that part.
Yeah.
And
I love how you talk.
In your field, yes.
I love how you bring in that aspect of it because, you know, when we do have a loved one that passes in particularly tragic ways, and thank you for sharing about your wife's experience. My husband's younger brother was murdered 18 months ago, and so and he was like a son to him.
Really, and murder, as you know, creates also a different wave in an energy field between people.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of that questioning and that why, and even if it's a past loved one that becomes ill and unwell, and then passes, there's still those questions that often go on. And it's, I love that you talk about the head, the heart, and the gut, because it is a process of integrating those aspects of, the questioning is part of grief, and it's how we process and integrate and allow ourselves to come into that acceptance, and that can happen for a long time or a short period of time, and every single person's experience with grief or trauma will be different. And every experience of grief will be different depending on your relationship with the person that you may have lost. And that can even happen with the breakup of a relationship as well. So I want people who are listening or watching to kind of think about those type losses, loss of a job, loss of finances. It's all grief and loss and trauma that's there, which is why I love that you brought that into this space today, because it will help people. How do we, and I like that question about the how, because you talked about a healer and an expert, and there are a lot of healers that don't necessarily do the work on themselves in order to become an expert, and it can be challenging and I'm going to go bloody difficult at times to process our own trauma through the gut, the heart, and the head, to be able to then stand in a space of empathy and compassion and understanding and awareness and all of those things, because it's often our work, right? We have to walk it to teach it.
Walk the talk. Yeah, walk the talk. Yeah. And it's extremely hard. Again, I say about healers, because I'm not religious, but healer gives you something like a status. Yeah. And there are healers who never learn to be a healer. And there are people who learn to be a healer and are still not a healer. That's my opinion. And why I say it, because and say, but it's also a little bit my thing. When you call yourself a healer, you give yourself something like a statue. And a lot of healers do that because what you said, they didn't solve their own trauma and see it something like, I am there. And it doesn't mean they're bad, because they still love to help people, but they love to help people from their own trauma. And the need is to love to help people without that your trauma and your experience becomes part of it. And there's a beautiful series now somewhere out in the social media about, say, the masters say in energy healing and all this kind of stuff. If you listen to them, they all say we still our mind totally and we become numb. And the moment they are not there anymore, they are there, but they're part of the whole universe and the whole entity, then they can do amazing work. The moment they're still there, the work doesn't happen. And it works, say, in medium, I can imagine in mediumship, it works in Reiki. The moment I think, oh, I'm going to help somebody, the Reiki sucks, excuse my French. The moment I'm just there, it works. And I also think, okay, so I should not have to put an intention in it, I just have to be there. And it's actually just be there. And it's the same for a therapist or a counselor or a coach. You just have to be there. The moment I think I'm going to help you, Leanne, it's about me. I am going to help you. See, it's not about the first word starts with I. It shouldn't start with I. It should start with you, or with the trust actually we have.
Yeah. And I really love that you bring that up, because, there is a difference between, and I'm going to do a little bit of that head brain stuff that you talk about with the past and the future, is we can say, I will heal you. And I see a lot of that. Or even in mediumship, there's lots of people who call themselves mediums that are not necessarily being a medium or being a healer. And there's a difference between the saying and the being. And it's about embodying that energy. It's not about, the commercial marketing sales power of I will heal you. You can't heal anyone.
No, people can heal themselves, and you can assist them somewhere by transferring the energy, let's call it like that, or transferring, say, the wisdom, the questions, the insights, depends how you're going to do it. And as I've been teaching clinical hypnotherapy and psychotherapy in Australia, now teaching coaches, for me, it's always the same. It is be there. And what I learned, and that's the hardest, and I will wide awake point 10 fingers to myself. To get your ego out of the way and get you out of the way is extremely hard. And if people say, what? I will just challenge you. Do 1 hour of meditation and check if you can be 1 hour silent in your head.
Yeah.
By the way, first one, raise my hand again. It doesn't work for me. I cannot do it up to now.
Yeah.
I can do 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and then somewhere, something like a tsunami of things come in and think, wow.
I love that, because one of the things, particularly with mediumship, is you have to put your ego aside, yourself, your human self aside, and allow the spirit world to flow through you and bring that energy through. It's nothing to do with you at all. And if it is about you and how amazing you are and all of those things, then this and the gut is in the way. And that analyzing or logicking happens. So, the meditating is really important, and silencing a little bit of this and the past and the future, and I'm going to do an amazing job of this. Well, great. That might be your intention. And I'm a reformed, sometimes perfectionist as well. I'm a high achiever, and so often intellectual high achievers, perfectionists have this going on, and it can be challenging to silence that sometimes. So I love that you bring that into the space and talking about meditation. For me, my meditation process is going for walks to help my physical body move and to help that slow down a little bit. Is that something that you can talk a little bit about?
Absolutely. Say when I was in India and learning a little bit more about meditation and yogi, still one of the yogis said to me, walking meditation is a beautiful meditation because the moment same as you do mindfulness, a lot of people train mindfulness. I also learn mindfulness. If you walk and you're really aware of your physical awareness, how you put your feet down and how you breathe, actually your head stills because it becomes an inwards focus. And when there's an inwards focus, all the earth thoughts disappear. Hence why in meditation you look at the light, at the candle, or you come away of your focus on your breathing. You do an inwards focus to still that mind. So it makes totally sense. It helps. Like why I like to do a sitting meditation.
Yeah.
I would say it's a challenge, but I know that I also love to see if I can.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I'm a swimmer. I have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. If you don't know it up to now, then you probably were not watching or seeing me. So for me, it's the challenge to really let the storm inside go down.
Yeah.
And let the waves become really silent. So that's why I like to train that. But it's beautiful to do so because I love to walk with my dog, and I really just come aware of the breathing and the exercising. So it makes sense. And there is no what the guy once told me, the yogi told me, said, there is no right or wrong way to do really your meditation. You can do it always.
Exactly.
You can do it while eating because then you come to mindfulness. You can do it while eating, by brushing your teeth, by brushing your hair.
Yeah.
Is it not by watching TV because then you're actually zoning out at something else? Well, no, that doesn't work. But if you're just immersed in doing something with yourself, so that makes sense. What I learned and what I done.
Yeah, and
just one thing, just one add on that why it's so important for us to do so, and why for everybody is we have 50 trillion body cells. Every body cell has a little bit of energy. What's the purpose of meditation or at silence? Is actually just like a magnet, align all those 50 trillion body cells that the energy flows in one direction, like in a magnet. If you have normal metal, the energy of all the metal atoms go all the ways, doesn't happen. With a magnet, they're all pointing one way and they have all that power. And they can send through the energy. Now, that's actually the same as us. I heard that explanation a long time ago and think it makes so much sense. It doesn't mean it's easy, but that's why actually it also helps. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, not at all. Thank you. And I love that you talk about that challenging yourself to sit with that meditation. And it is a practice. And, particularly spiritually, those who are looking at developing themselves in that way, it's about allowing yourself to practice sitting in that energy of yourself, with yourself and with the spirit world or whoever it is you refer to that as. What I want to ask you, I'm aware of time and we could talk about this for a long time. Talk to me about how those three brains can impact relationships.
Massively. As I said in the beginning, they have different kind of objectives. So if you say, to make it, again, a simple example, heart-brain people are us people. They like to please other people. They like to serve somebody else. They always ask, what can I do for you? Instead of asking, what can you do for me? So those people are drawn actually to people who they can help. If they have, say, a little bit too strong heart-brain. Who loves to be helped? Gut-brain people. Of course, all about me, myself, and I. I talk about myself. Hey, you like to talk about me? Okay, you can become my partner. And those relationships are more born to fail or be extremely unhappy. Because the gut brain thinks, hey, you talk about me, that's great. I talk about me, that's great. Everybody's about me. And the heart brain actually never gets their recognition, their love. So they give but don't receive. So sooner or later, there will be a misbalance. And we all have those brains, so it's becoming aware, hey, how can we express our needs? And that's the same. And my girlfriend is more head brain logic. So I had to learn if I spontaneous, hey, let's go out. She says, I'm finished this email, let me think about it. I was like, I ask you out. What's now the issue? Don't you love me anymore? I say, yes, of course, but let me just finish my email. I get annoyed. She gets annoyed. But actually, it's a heart brain talking to a head brain. Her need is to have overview, to make a right decision, to finish her stuff, to be well prepared to do the next step. I'm just there throwing my stuff away and let's go out. And there is no right and wrong. If you're not aware of those communication gaps, you can create a fight actually about miscommunication, and not because the intentions are wrong, because both intentions are right. She likes to go out only in a different sequence as I like to go out. If you like the gut brain in there, the same if, where would you like to eat? Ask a heart brain people, where do you like to eat? Oh, I don't care. What do you like to eat? No, I ask you first, what do you like? No, I like everything. And I know you like more fish. Do you like to go for a fish restaurant? No, I don't like to go for a fish restaurant. We had it yesterday. Okay, what would you like then? And before you know, if discussion, because one asks the heart brain what they want, heart brain likes to please you, and they don't have a decision. And then maybe more head brain or gut brain person said, okay, let's just go for Mexican. Okay, let's go for Mexican. But the heart brain did not express what they want. So they please you, but maybe they wanted to have something else. It's actually becoming aware, gut brain will say what he wants. So be aware of that. That's good. Heart brain will never say what it wants. So be aware you have to ask 10 times. And the head person will make a logical decision and at the end say, okay, no, we ate this yesterday, that the day before. This, by the way, the most healthiest. And by the way, it's also price-wise, and it's only 5 minutes away. Let's go there. So if you know those different things, then there is less discussion. Let's call it less. If you're not aware, you can have a fight about nothing. And all the three intentions are the same. So relationships is really becoming aware. That's why I call my book, Which Brain is Talking? Really, which brain is talking? If you don't know, you mess up.
Yeah.
So that's a short explanation of it, how it works.
I love those two examples because you reminded me of my husband and I. He's very spontaneous and I'm the planner, so very similar. And we've had those discussions about, there's things I need to get finished and done, and that's just how my brain works. And so we're really conscious and present of that now. It's taken us kind of 9 years to get there. And we can have those conversations about, okay, he brings out my spontaneous side and I need to allow that spontaneous side to come out more, and his planning and getting stuff done side, I help him to bring that out more. And so it's about balancing that. I love that you talk about the food thing, because he often asks me what I want to eat and I'm like, I don't know. And so, we've had conversations about I've had some gastric surgery, so I'll just eat whatever, because it's a smaller issue for me than it is for him. And so I'm like, can we just agree that, I don't make those decisions because I'm mindful of what you need is more, not more important, but I'll just eat whatever.
More weight in the scale than for you.
Exactly. So we've had some conscious conversations about that, and it's only through some of those arguments and battles in amongst it and being conscious of that. So I love that you put that in a gut brain and a heart brain and a head brain context. What's popping to mind that I've seen clients experiencing is not feeling heard in relationships. Where does that come in?
Not feeling heard.
When they're communicating with their partner.
It's actually when we listen with our own brain.
Yeah, okay.
If somebody talks on another brain, we can hear the words but don't understand them because we don't know what they mean with it. That's why people don't feel heard. Most times it is, I say what I want. Why does the person doesn't listen to me? They process it in a different way. And especially heart brain people don't feel heard by gut brain. Gut brain is not so interested in other people. It's about me, myself. So if you have a gut brain dominant partner, then your needs will not be heard.
Yeah.
The heart brain person doesn't feel heard because they say in between the sentences what they want. Yes, we had yesterday fish. So what would you like? Actually, what they say, I don't like fish because we had it yesterday. But you have to be really careful about that they said that. The head parents said, no, let me think about it. Yeah, we could go there, we could go there. And yeah, maybe that is also a good idea. Then you have to be aware, okay, they said 3 things. So probably one of those 3, they have the preference. So you have to only ask, what of the 3 do you think is the best for you? Do you think, not what you feel?
Yeah. Do you
Well, then
think, do
they,
you feel? Yeah.
but what they say, what do you feel then like, Leanne? And Leanne says, I don't know. I don't know. Then it's not it's about okay. So if you think about it, what would you think is the best? And then you ask this one, and then you say, oh, when you think about it, then maybe this is the best. And you get somewhere the answer. By the way, I don't like to break up, but somewhere I have to finish because I hear somewhere that my foot is almost now burning out.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I'm really grateful for you sharing that knowledge and wisdom. Can you tell people where they can connect with you?
It's extremely simple. I'd say, in my opinion, that's a judgment. It is 3 brains intelligence.
Great.
That's what, and then .com. And if you type in 3 brains intelligence, you just find me. And if you have an issue, if you like to talk about it, if you like to know more, connect. By the way, for the interested people, on my website, there's a 3 brains preference test. It's a free test, takes you 10 minutes and gives you insight which brain of you is dominant in your decision making.
Yeah.
And it means also in your communication, other kind of things. And it can help you right away to say, okay, I'm more here, and here in communicating. That means probably I don't hear those kind of things. And if you do it with a partner, then you have even more fun because you can think, we knew it, but now we know it for sure. You can help it. So 3 brains intelligence, you find everything there, and love to hear from you. And sorry for breaking up, Leanne. Love to talk with you another time.
We'll definitely have you back on for another episode. Thank you so much. I'll pop the link below this episode for those of you who want to connect. And I'm aware Christoffel's got some dinner to go to. So thank you so much for connecting. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode of Barefoot with Spirit podcast show. Please jump on my website, thebarefootmedium.com.au, to connect further. And thank you, and see you again.
Thank you, Leanne. Send you a lot of beautiful energy from Energy to Brisbane.
Thank you so much.